Well, I almost get to step into a long-lost dream of being a kindergarten teacher today. I'm not going to read this children's story, but I'm hoping that our hearts will all reel in the message of the Great Carp Escape. It is not a fish tale or fish story, you know what I'm saying. It's the real-life experience of author Irish Beth Maddock. And she's come to us from Calgary, Alberta. Welcome, Irish. And I know everyone stops cold turkey. Where did you get that name? I mean, your mom and dad, of course, but are they Irish?
They're not. They used to hang around the Irish Rovers quite a bit, and I think they were hippies.
And the Irish Rovers are still out there roving and singing and...
They are. They're running their 50th year tour this year, I understand.
Oh, too special. Great story. This is a very interesting story, and it is set in Vernon, BC, Okanagan Lake.
Correct.
A very real place where you grew up.
That's right. That's right. Back in the 1980s, my family and I lived on the shores of Okanagan Lake. And one spring, the lake flooded into a pasture beside our home. And there was a marsh nearby, and it was just full of these fat, ugly, scaly carp. And they, being the bottom-dwelling fish they are, they followed the floodwaters inland. And as the lake receded, what was left was a giant pond full of these carp, and then as the sun came out, the pond began to dry up. So that's the basis of the story.
So a rescue ensued to get these really ugly fish back to their natural habitat.
Yes.
And was it your dad who spearheaded that project?
I can't give my dad credit for that. No, my then 7-year-old brother and his neighbor, they were the ones who, all on their own, devised a very creative way to get the carp back into the lake.
So this really is about champion kids with a great attitude. And I have to say, Irish, it convicted me before I ever reached the end of the story, because we were recently in Florida, and every day we went to a pond where there was an alligator, actually, either a little one or a big one. We didn't know what we would find, but we always found tropical birds. Now these pictures, I've asked my husband just to provide a couple of my shots, because they were feasting on really ugly fish with whiskers. Now, I don't know if they're carp, but you can see in his beak, because it's a little hard to see the whiskers, but I think there's one more there. The pond was just bubbling with these fish, and I didn't particularly enjoy the sight of them. I think they'd be very good to eat.
They're not very pretty.
And you'd say they have a name, these ones?
Well, they could be carp, they could be catfish. If they have a single barbel on each side, chances are they're the carp.
Okay, the barbel is the actual whisker.
That's right.
This is a message about all of God's creation being beautiful. That's just one of the angles here.
Yes.
In fact, the book concludes with that beautiful hymn. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all.
Yes.
The children in this story, you and your brother, didn't have a problem with that message.
Well, we actually didn't know that message. And this story is actually a celebration of my discovery of God's love in my life. Back in the 1970s, our birth mom chose to leave our family. I was 4, my brother was 1. Now, I know I'm not alone in things like this happening, but, and my dad, he did the best he could. Times were hard, but he would leave us at home alone. He would go to work, come back at lunchtime to check on us, and then be back by supper. So as a 4-year-old, I learned very quickly to parent my 1-year-old brother. And I also learned very quickly that parents can forsake you. The celebration of this book is that Psalm 27:10, though your mother and father forsake you, the Lord shall take you up. And I didn't discover that message until much later in life. And
in your 20s, your late 20s.
In my 20s, that's right, that's right. So this book, I don't want kids to miss the message of how wonderful God thinks they are.
In fact, the champion with the I'm just going to open to one of the pages here. You'll see the man with the shovel bears a striking resemblance to images of Jesus. And these children are loved, cared for by Daddy, and Abba means Daddy.
That's right.
The name Jesus used for his father and
That's
ours.
God was always there with my brother and I in all our adventures, in all our loneliness, in all our sadness, and that's the celebration of the Great Carp Escape.
Psalm 27:10. You know, I love this verse. I know it's your favorite.
Yes.
Though my father and mother forsake, abandon me. When you look at the translations, here are some of the endings. The Lord will receive me. The Lord will hold me close.
Yes.
The Lord will take me in. The Lord will take me up. The Lord cares for me. The Lord gathers me up.
Yes.
These are all translations of that verse, and they are all true, and they are all your personal experience, Irish.
That's right. It's an experience of how God took my lemons and made lemonade. Yeah.
Was this true for your brother as well?
I'm praying for that. Yeah. Yeah.
You are a mother today. You have a daughter with an incredible name.
Yes. Her name is Eden.
And it must be a real privilege to do home and family in a new way.
It is. It is. Yeah. My life could have gone in another direction, but the Lord intervened, and you know, He created something new and shiny. I thought I was God at first, and what happened was I realized later I lived in hell, but at least I knew the names of the streets, and my hell was comfortable. And God came in and He parented me out of very hard places. And to my surprise, what came out was new and shiny and redeemable. And I'm just so thankful that I'm here to talk about it.
And you're so gentle-spirited. I don't sense any bitterness, any of the harshness that we would expect out of such loss and rejection. That's the big word, isn't it?
God can fill those holes if we just so let Him.
I just have to get cute for a minute.
Yes.
Because all creatures is something you embrace in a very holistic way. Tell us what you do. You have a business.
I do. I run a very successful cat sitting company out of Calgary, Alberta. And so if you're going to go to Florida again, and if you have a cat, I could look after your cat for you.
We don't have a cat. We're not likely to. But okay, now I'm going to freak everybody out. Can we see the shoes? Is that possible? Oh, look. See, look at this right here. Okay, I didn't warn them, but you have to see the shoes. Too cute. This is our cat sitter. If you're in Calgary and you're going somewhere and you've got cats, this is a woman fully committed to give the care and so colorfully.
Thank you.
This is a great conversation starter on so many topics. I wrote some things down here. Being a voice for the voiceless. Children can do that.
Yes.
Showing respect for all creation. Knowledge and experience leading to understanding and compassion.
That's right.
That's something we all need to embrace. And I know you're using this as a fundraiser everywhere it goes.
Yes.
This children's book.
That's right. If there are any churches, charities, schools, or ministries in need of a fundraising opportunity, I'm thrilled to make arrangements to offer my book as a fundraiser that would help.
Irish, thank you. Thank you. And my burden is that there are many people still trapped in pain.
Yes.
Many who are doing something kind of religious somewhere, but they haven't found Abba yet. They haven't come into that love relationship that has made you the woman you are, the mother you are, the wife you are. Husband Paul,
Yes.
city planner there in Calgary.
That's right.
We just send love to all of them. And as we remind you that this book is available everywhere, maybe you need to talk to someone today about the pain you've endured, the rejection and loss that life has dealt you. You may even be angry at God because of all of that. You thought you lived in hell, Irish. God has something more for you. And we have prayer partners who are available around the clock, every day. They're available right now if you'd like to talk about it and have someone pray, bring you into a new attitude, a new perspective, into all that God, Abba, has planned for you. Why don't you do that right now?